Soul Land Episode 190 Original Novel DouLuo DaLu. Chapter 223. Angel and Rakshasa. Within the DouLuo temple stood a tall statue, towering about 10 meters high and completely shining gold. With 3 pairs of wings unfurled from its back, in its hands was a giant golden sword pointing at the skies. The strangest thing about it was, surrounding the sword was a faint golden mist. In the Spirit Hall's Elder's Temple, there was a similar statue. If the two had to be compared, then the only difference would have to be the soul. That's right, although the statue in the Elder's Temple was similarly huge, but it was lacking the spirit. This gigantic statue here gave off the feeling of power. The surrounding several hundred title DouLuo's golden title tablets were all silently sleeping under its suppression. This place was the Spirit Master's supreme temple. Every Spirit Master took pride in being able to enter the DouLuo temple, because it signified that they had reached the title DouLuo level. And also because only when they achieved their title could they enter this place. The DouLuo temple was actually not certain to have been built by Spirit Hall. According to the legends, DouLuo temple had appeared long before the Spirit Hall had even been established. The original Spirit Hall had been organized in dedication to the DouLuo temple and were originally comprised of the powerful members of the DouLuo temple. The DouLuo temple had a temple master who was the person who respected the DouLuo temple the most. He was the one who worshipped the DouLuo's golden title tablets, and was the person who would preside over the title endowment ceremony of all new title DouLuo. At this moment, in front of this giant statue in the DouLuo temple, knelt a person silently. She was not a title DouLuo here to receive a title, and neither was she the temple master of this DouLuo temple. She had another identity, and it was because of this identity she was able to stay here, kneeling symbolically in front of the huge 6-winged seraphim statue. Her wavy hair by her back reaching to the ground while her hands were interlocked in a strange posture by her chest, with her thumbs interlocked and index finger pointing at each other while the other 6 fingers were pointing out to the sides, making it look like of a 6-winged seraphim with its wings outstretched. A delicate haze filled with respect covered her body while her eyes were closed, gave off a faint glow. This person was precisely the person who had lost to Tang San at the Heaven Do Empire Palace, resulting in her plan spanning over 10 years to fail, and was the daughter of the Spirit Hall Supreme Pontiff. In this place, she had already been kneeling for 108 days without food or water. Has your heart calmed down? A dignified yet calm voice resonated from within the DouLuo temple. Qianrongxiu, who seemed to have transformed into a statue herself, did not speak and remained silently kneeling there as usual, maintaining her original posture. With a golden flash of light, a figure had suddenly appeared in between her and the giant statue. As his figure became clearer, the surrounding golden glow too became stronger. Especially for the giant 6-winged seraphim statue, as the giant sword started spurting out even more golden light, causing an indescribable sacred atmosphere to be formed. The person who had appeared in front of Qianrongxiu was the Spirit Hall High Priest, the Temple Master of the DouLuo Temple, DouLuo, one of the 3 ranked 99 title DouLuo in the world. Open your eyes. DouLuo pointed with his raised hand, and the golden haze emitted from the sword of the statue behind him started to descend and envelop Qianrongxiu completely within. As the golden haze moved, Qianrongxiu's body was lifted up by that golden haze. This golden light had not transformed, but in the presence of Qianrongxiu, gradually 9 golden panels appeared. Seeing these 9 panels of light, DouLuo's eyes revealed a few flashes of light. Angel's 9 tests, 9 tests. The 9 tests that countless generations of temple masters have been waiting for has finally appeared. As if with great difficulty, Qianrongxiu opened her eyes as she looked at her grandfather confused. Within DouLuo's eyes was a soft light. I was about 70 before I had your father, and your father was about 50 before he had you. The person that many generations of temple masters have been waiting for is actually you. Little Shuet, Grandpa is proud of you. Qianrongxiu dazedly stared at DouLuo. Grandpa, I don't understand what you mean. Perhaps because she has not opened her mouth for a long time, her voice sounded a little hoarse. DouLuo lightly smiled, saying, if the number of panels in front of you is 8, then you would be the next DouLuo temple's temple master. However, there are 9 light panels in front of you right now. Don't ask why, but when the time comes I will tell you more. From now on, for a long time to come, you will have to complete the Angel's 9 tests. Grandpa will accompany you all the way. Yes. The Supreme Pontiff Palace, in the Supreme Pontiff's private chamber. The Bibi Dong, who was sitting cross-legged, suddenly opened her eyes. If anybody saw her right now, they would definitely be shocked. Bibi Dong's both eyes were red as blood. The color was so fresh that it seemed like blood was practically dripping blood. On the fingers of both her hands were nails as long as 5 inches that were completely black, a stark contrast to her pale white skin. Her originally noble complexion now looked horrifyingly distorted, and there were bloodstains. Behind her, an indistinct black shadow had appeared. With her eyes opened, Bibi Dong took a deep breath, the black-purple light started to move and the changes to her body started to fade away, revealing her original appearance, leaving her looking only slightly paler than usual. DouLuo, you are really very clever. In order for me to not devour the descendants of your angelic clan, you actually chose my daughter. A chain of explosive sounds roared out around Bibi Dong's body. While lightly getting up, there was a golden flash of light, and Bibi Dong was already dressed in the robes of the Supreme Pontiff. From the looks of it, she had already returned to being that dignified decisive Supreme Pontiff. So what if you let little Shui inherit your position? There will be a day when I destroy your angelic foundation. DouLuo, you have underestimated me. Ever since the time I devoured your son's body and soul and changed my cultivation to that of the Rakshasa, you have not been able to see through my cultivation. The final step, that final step that you have never managed to take, in no more than 10 years, I am certain to be able to surmount. When that time comes, no one will be able to stop me from doing what I want. You son ruined me, and so I shall destroy everything of your angelic clan. Ha ha, ha 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 ha. A horrific owl-like laughter resounded throughout the entire chamber. The giant black phantom which had previously disappeared, once more appeared behind Bibi Dong, intermittently disappearing and reappearing. 1 month later. With a ripping sound echoing loudly as his expanding muscles ripped open his clothes, Daimyo Bai roared. Soaring up into the skies, his incredibly robust muscular body could be seen. His body, while under the tremendous pressure of the sea god's light, shot up towards the sky. However, the current him was no longer the Daimyo Bai who couldn't control the rebound from the sea god's light. His body flipped twice in the air, as he calmly landed on the floor with a golden flash. A month's time had passed, the Shrek 7 devils have been cultivating here for the entire month. But to them, this month felt as if it had just flashed by. Currently, their spot of cultivation was the 10th step of the sea god's steps, where they cultivated while constantly pressured from all sides. Today, after a month had passed, although the sea god's light was still considered to be pressure for them, it had also quickly become their greatest enjoyment. How so? If every day they could cultivate and feel a significant progress in their spirit power, even if the pressure was greater, how could they not enjoy the sense of satisfaction and feeling of strength every day? Other than Tang San, Ma Hongjun, and Xiao Wu, who was unable to cultivate, the rest all had an increase in their spirit power by a rank. That also included Bai Chenxiang, who had increased by a rank when they first came. Currently she was already of the 48th rank. The results of cultivation in the sea god's light was significant. The immense pressure became the best catalyst for their cultivation. Within this sea god's light, even when sleeping, the spirit power in their bodies would also be circulating. What's more, would the Shrek 7 devils waste this perfectly good opportunity? In the month of hard work, while under the feeling of constant improvement, not one of them complained. With tenacious determination, their strength constantly improved. Also, they realized that they were gradually getting used to the pressure of the sea god's light. The amount of steps they could take on the stairs had risen as well. Right now Daimyo Bai could already walk up to the 60th step with his own power. While Tang San is going all out, he could actually reach till close to the 80th step. To them, the most effective way to reach their physical limits is to climb up their limit, then climbing back down and cultivating. Every day they could only do so thrice, but the result of these 3 sessions was their spirit power growing by leaps and bounds. Otherwise, they would not have been able to achieve such a large improvement in these 3 months. While cultivating in the sea god's light, it was as if the Shrek 7 devils have returned to the time when they first went to Shrek Academy and they had their high-speed cultivation period. According to their current cultivation pace, during this year of the first sea god's test, all of them should be able to improve by 6 to 7 ranks and perhaps even more. Tang San's cultivation was without doubt the most diligent, because he had the motivation that the others did not have. This motivation did not originate from the sea god's 9 tests, rather it was from Xiao Wu. In order to revive Xiao Wu earlier, he was not willing to cut himself even half a moment of slack. Other than time spent eating and washing himself up, he spent the rest of his time on cultivation, working tirelessly to raise his spirit power. Although this 1 month was not enough for him to break through the 69th rank, but his constant hard work and his 8 cleared meridians already let him know he has reached the bottleneck. In at most another 5 days, he would be able to make another breakthrough. 1 year, the sea god's light only gave them a year's worth of time. In this 1 year, just how much they could improve would depend on how much they gave. To not make the most of this 1 year's time they had, how could they be worthy of the arrangement Lord Sea God had bestowed onto them? Every morning, there would be specific oceanic spirit masters to send them food and then quietly leave. There would not be anyone else appearing to disturb them. It could be said that in this past month, the Shrek 7 devils and Bai Chenxiang had soaked the first 50 steps with their sweat. Other than Bai Chenxiang, who could barely reach the 19th step, the Shrek 7 devils all could reach past the 50th step, of which the one with the most obvious improvement was the one with the weakest physical body, Ning Rong Rong. Under the pressure of the sea god's light, her body's resistance had greatly improved every day. Right now, after she had released her spirit, on her body a faint layer of glow could be seen emanating from her body. Time passed quickly during their frenzied cultivation. And so 2 months had passed once more. Bai Chenxiang had too managed to break through to the 50th rank. Although she was unable to get a god-bestowed spirit ring, Tang San had told her that the results of her continued cultivation would naturally appear after she got the ring, so there is no need to rush to find a spirit ring now, and she just had to continue to work hard and cultivate. And it was also as this last day of the 3rd month passed here, the Tang San who was sitting cross-legged on the 20th step suddenly opened his eyes. A crystal golden blue light suddenly surrounded his body, and in combination with the golden sea god's light shone together. An incomparably strong feeling shocked awake the other people who were in the midst of their cultivation. When their eyes landed on Tang San, they were shocked to realize that Tang San's body seemed to be releasing a special kind of light. Tens of strands of his blue-silver emperor, which seemed to have been cut out of crystal, started to spread out from his body, neatly arranging themselves into a spiral. Around Tang San, the two colored lights, blue and gold, intertwined. Slowly floating up, Tang San's skin had transformed completely blue. Tang San, you, Daimyo Bai looked at Tang San with his eyes wide. Tang San did not reply, but the light his body was giving out became more and more eye-catching. A shattering sound resounded as he was sent flying into the sky under the effects of the sea god's light. In an instant, tens of thousands of strands of blue-silver emperor suddenly shot out from his body like strands of blue light, with Tang San as their origin, a golden blue sun releasing an intense eye-catching radiance. 3 months of tireless training in the sea god's light had brought to Tang San something he had needed to most. That's right, he had broken through. He had finally broken through the most crucial bottleneck of any spirit master. A quantitative change had finally triggered a qualitative change. The 6 spirit rings were no longer sufficient to contain the spirit power Tang San was releasing. He had finally broken through the 70th rank bottleneck, and reached a new summit. With his head raised, the golden mark of the trident on his forehead suddenly glowed. Each of the 100-meter-long strands of blue spirit emperor started dancing in the air. Under the sunlight, the many strands acted like they were protecting their blue-silver emperor. It was also at this moment that the 6 spirit rings surrounding Tang San's body suddenly turned golden blue, powerfully fluctuating. As if being beckoned, on Sea God's Island, all the plants under the protection of Sea God's light started to lightly sway, especially the blue-silver grass on the ground. Every strand started to leak out that same golden blue glow, as if paying respects to their emperor. The golden trident mark was like a beacon. The cloud-like red figure once more appeared in front of the group without warning. Sea God DouLuo Dalu silently appeared in mid-air, standing atop the air without a trace of spirit power leaking out from her, facing the Tang San who released an innumerable amount of strands of blue-silver emperor. Her dignified face revealing a slight noble smile. With a wave of her hand, a golden bead appeared and flew and landed directly on the golden trident mark on Tang San's forehead. As if flipping a switch, when the golden ball of light landed on the trident on Tang San's forehead, the blue-silver emperor surrounding him retracted back into his body as strands of light. While Tang San remained sitting cross-legged in the air, slowly descended back onto the ground. With a clang, the golden pearl shattered, a rich golden liquid flowed all over Tang San, covering all parts of his body, obscuring his figure. Only the trident mark on his forehead remained glowing as obviously as before. At the moment the golden pearl shattered, 1 blue and 1 white ring of light simultaneously appeared on Tang San's body. The 2 rings of light only spread out about a meter from him before stopping, filled with powerful life force and an incomparable killing intent. Just like when he was climbing the sea god's steps, Tang San directly released both his domains, the blue-silver and death god domains. He wanted to accept this god-bestowed spirit ring in his best condition. In this world, spirit beasts were numerous in number, most of which would ferociously kill humans. Because of spirit masters, the number of high-ranked spirit beasts were few in number. However, if they did not do so, when the number of powerful spirit beasts reached a certain level, they would start to leave their territories and attack the human lands. As such, the spirit masters and spirit beasts formed some sort of equilibrium on this continent. Even if there were more spirit beasts, the number of them able to become a 100,000-year-old spirit beast was still as rare as a phoenix feather. Tang San's luck was already not bad, including Xiao Wu. He had already met 4 such 100,000-year-old spirit beasts. Xiao Wu, De Ming, Ming, and the deep-sea demonic whale, which left him almost dead. While his mother and also Xiao Wu's mother had long since perished in the hands of Spirit Hall. From Ma Hongjun obtaining the spirit ring previously, Tang San had already set a goal in his mind. Xiao Wu giving him a 100,000-year-old spirit ring could be considered an accident. But this god-bestowed spirit ring was something he could control. As such, he had long since decided that when he broke through the 70th rank and obtained this god-bestowed spirit ring, he only had one goal, which was to use his full strength and try to obtain a 100,000-year spirit ring for himself. 100,000-year-old spirit beasts were just too few in number. And they were all also so strong, to obtain 100,000-year spirit rings from hunting them would be a tall order. Thus this god-bestowed spirit ring was a good chance for Tang San. As a spirit master, being able to obtain a 100,000-year spirit ring would allow his strength to greatly surpass anyone of the same rank. In particular, what Tang San was about to obtain was his 7th spirit ring. To an ordinary spirit master, the 7th spirit ring would be a qualitative improvement. After obtaining the 7th spirit ring, they would be able to release the spirit's true form and unleash the spirit's true power. To Tang San, this spirit ring significance is completely different. This is because he also has 2 domains. After battling Qian Rongxiu, Tang San understood the importance the 7th spirit ring had for his domains. Only after being able to control the spirit avatar could the true power in the domains be drawn out. And the quality of the 7th spirit ring would also determine the strength of the domains. Just because he had planned in advance, as such, when he was about to break through to the 70th rank, before the sea god DouLuo DaLu appeared to bestow the spirit ring, Tang San would release his full power. To him, the test of the god-bestowed spirit ring was much harder than the double traversal of the sea god's light. When the 2 domains appeared, the golden light surrounding Tang San instantly became thicker, instantly expanding to envelop the domain he was releasing as well. In the golden glow, you could now faintly see a trace of golden thread condense and squeeze around Tang San's body. Seeing this sight, the other Shrek 7 devils were not too surprised, but Ma Hongjun, who had once undergone the test of the god-bestowed spirit ring, gasped, because he realized that Tang San had accepted the god-bestowed spirit ring now. While he was obtaining his 6th spirit ring, only when he went all in at the end did this golden thread appear, and then he finally obtained a 40,000 or so year old spirit ring. If Tang San was starting from there, then what would his end point be? Ever since the Shrek 7 devils had come here, this was the first time they voluntarily took a break. Tang San was the strongest amongst the Shrek 7 devils. Seeing Tang San about to absorb his 7th spirit ring, how could his companions not pay their attention to him? Other than taking care of his safety, and other than Ma Hongjun, who already got his spirit ring, and Xiao Wu, who could not cultivate. The remaining 4 of them were all going to face the same test as Tang San. Their god-bestowed spirit ring was also that crucial 7th spirit ring. Tang San, who was currently absorbing the ring, could also act as experience for them when they have to absorb theirs. The goal that the Shrek 7 devils have set while training for 1 year in this sea god's light was to break through the 70th rank. Only after obtaining their spirit avatars would they have the confidence to face the harder tests to come. Tang San's expression was calm. Once the golden thread appeared, his back bulged as he unhesitatingly released his 8 spider lances. At the same time, his right arm, right leg, and head started to release a dim glow as well. With the stimulation of spirit power, the 4 great spirit bones started to play its part. Tang San naturally had an aim in doing so. Immediately releasing his full power without restraint would allow him to avoid having to do so under the restraint of the god-bestowed spirit ring endowment process and actually conserve power while being to endure more. Instantly having his full power released would also increase the difficulty of the test. Immediately taking the test at a higher level would also shorten the time it took for Tang San to take the test, and the time he had to suffer would reduce. Indeed, after his 4 spirit bones were activated, the golden air around him completely transformed. Previously only about 10% of the golden light had transformed into the thread. This time the air had completely vanished and all the golden light had transformed into circular gold thread. As if knitting itself, it constantly circled Tang San. The focusing wisdom skull bone made Tang San's mental power completely condense in his mind. for the first time it had completely condensed together, allowing him to become more resilient. The Blue-Silver Emperor's right leg bone's regeneration ability was activated, under the pressure of the God-bestowed spirit ring. As Tang San's body was starting to crumble, it was able to completely recover it. Although Xiao Wu's spirit bone's invincible golden body was not activated, but, being a 100,000-year-old spirit bone, in addition to the 8 spider lances, allowed Tang San's physical endurance to grow to a horrifying level. Under the combined effects of these 4 spirit bones, continuously withstanding wave after wave of pressure from the God-bestowed spirit ring. Second by second, minute by minute time passed. In a flash an hour had passed. Tang San's forehead was already densely covered with beads of sweat. What was most shocking about it was that these beads of sweat were all actually golden. At the moment the golden light surrounding Tang San's body once more made a change, the strands of golden threads began to condense together into golden rings of light. In total there were 9 of them. At first they expanded around Tang San, before contracting and fiercely crashed into Tang San's body. Repeating this process non-stop. Each time the golden light were to collide with Tang San's body, it would cause his body to tremble and more beads of sweat would appear on his forehead. From the 8 spider lances which were constantly trembling on his back, you could see that the pressure Tang San was facing was extremely large. A 100,000-year-old spirit ring was something that only spirit DouLuos could endure as they were advancing to the title DouLuo level. Tang San right now was only a spirit emperor on the way to being a spirit sage. However, hailed as the Shrek Academy's #1 genius, who had led the Shrek 7 Devils to beat the golden generation of the Spirit Hall to become the champions of the Continental Advanced Spirit Master Academy Elite Tournament. How could he be an average person? He had 4 spirit bones which normal spirit masters did not have. He also obtained the sacrifice of a 100,000-year-old spirit beast, and had also consumed 3 divine medicines and obtained a body invincible to fire and ice. In terms of his physical condition, he had definitely transcended the tenacity of even a title DouLuo. Although his spirit power was incomparable to them, but, under such conditions, he certainly had the qualifications to absorb a 100,000-year-old spirit ring. All that remained is just his determination and willpower. And was Tang San's determination and willpower lacking? Even he was not sure. When accepting the test of the God-bestowed spirit ring, his mind was clear. Where only 2 words remained. These 2 words was his greatest source of determination, his most staunch source of willpower. Xiao Wu. It was those 2 words which represented the name of his lover, it also represented all that Tang San could think about. On the virtue of these 2 words alone, all the distractions in his mind could be eliminated. As if the pain that his physical body was enduring was not even landing on his body. In this particular mood, the wave after wave colliding with his body eventually was on the verge of collapse, yet still unable to move his unbreakable faith. For Xiao Wu, he must endure. Fresh red drops of blood started to seep out from Tang San's skin. Different from the fine beads of blood released by Ma Hongjun previously, the blood flowing out from Tang San was a constant stream, staining his clothes red, and even staining the ground beneath him red. Even his 7 orifices were bleeding. Tang San's body seemed like it was about to give way at any moment, yet, his will was not the slightest bit shaken. As long as his belief has not changed, the God-bestowed spirit ring's test would not stop. Third brother. Ning Rongrong could not help but call out, her tears uncontrollably rolling out. In her heart's impulse, she wanted to rush ahead and stop Tang San from continuing. She was not the only one in tears. Zhu Zuqing and Bai Chenxiang were 2 also wordlessly tearing. The mentally more fragile Bai Chenxiang lied in Ma Hongjun's arms, unable to watch any further. Oscar determinedly held onto Ning Rongrong's arms, not letting her rush forward. Only saying one sentence, "Believe in little San." At the moment, Oscar's words did not have his usual joking tone. He could also see how dangerous a position Tang San was currently in. In Daimyo Bai's eyes was only sincere admiration. As the leader of the Shrek 7 Devils, holding back his passion in his heart, his unyielding personality was definitely not a match for Tang San. That's why he had also been hard-working cultivating so that one day he could surpass Tang San once more to become the strongest amongst the Shrek 7 Devils. But at this moment, seeing Tang San covered in fresh blood, Daimyo Bai knew that even if he spent his whole life, he did not have the chance of surpassing Tang San anymore. Tang San's strength did not come from his luck, rather it came from his dedication and tireless effort. Behind his vast strength was a past of innumerable suffering, only after paying with blood and sweat did he manage to reach where he is. None of the Shrek 7 Devils lacked the 1% needed for success, talent. But if anyone among them truly had the other 99% of effort, then, that was only Tang San. Only with this complete 100% did it allow Tang San to reach his current strength, completely above his peers of the same age. If the other 6 Shrek devils were to evaluate Tang San, they would only have one word to describe him: perfect. A perfection that only belonged to Tang San. Sea God DouLuo Dalu was currently also frowning. She had already raised her hand 3 times, and also put it down 3 times. As the high priest of the Sea God Island, she was the most fervent believer of the Sea God and also the most powerful. She had not experienced such a mix of emotions in over 50 years. She was the one controlling the God-bestowed spirit ring, and was the one clearest about Tang San's physical condition. And could most clearly feel Tang San teetering on the edge of collapse. Each time she could feel Tang San about to collapse, she wanted to stop him but would only realize the power of Tang San's will which managed to maintain Tang San's physical body from collapse. After which, he once more fell on the brink of collapse yet somehow managed to sustain himself. Even with such a spirit master like Bo Sixi who stood at the peak, she was unable to determine just what kind of power is keeping Tang San afloat. Indeed, he was someone chosen by the Sea God's 9 tests. That's right. Only someone the Sea God selected would have this kind of perseverance. Not to mention back when Bo Sixi was that age, let alone now, she was certain that her perseverance would be inferior to Tang San. Perseverance and determination were the largest factors for success. Finally, when Bo Sixi could not help but raise her hand for the 4th time as she prepared to stop the God-bestowed spirit rings test. In that instant, the blood emerging from Tang San's body practically all erupted out. Fallen apart? Bo Sixi was alarmed, but her hand was still stopped mid-air. Because, the fresh red blood that was spurting out of Tang San instantly dyed the 9 golden rings attacking Tang San's body. In the next instant they had all turned red. The 9 rings returned to become a single ring. They had transformed into a large blood-red glowing ring floating around Tang San. And at this point in time, Tang San only had one feeling in his mind: his body had finally fallen apart, and was transformed into dust filling up the air. But this feeling of destruction also brought him a never-before-experienced pleasure. In the next instant, all he could feel was a sea of red. As if he had sunken into a blood-red world. It ends here. Soon wait me, I will make 10 episodes in one day. Haha, now a bit slow in update. Many assignments are not done. Good luck you all. Likes, subscribes and shares also comments. Ciao.